Y'all already know what time it is. Big motherfucking waves in the building. Y'all already know how it go, what it is, what it does, what it was. We here today, man, to talk about David Canales, Dan Morgan's introductory press conference, man. Happened this morning, man. For those that didn't catch it, make sure y'all go to YouTube and check it out. I got a lot of shit to take away, man, and talk about from this, man. So pull the fuck up, man. Y'all already know how I go over here, man. Life is just a wave podcast. Your host with the most from the East Coast, big motherfucking waves in there. Please don't forget the motherfucking man when you saying my name. Look, you could talk about me. You can say whatever it is that you want to say about me, as long as you don't forget the motherfucking in the goddamn building, man. Y'all already know what time it is, bro. Look, I was supposed to be live a minute ago, man. Y'all forgive me, man. Work had to goddamn hell the nigga up, but we are here and we got a lot of shit to unpack, man. Dave Canales is your new football coach. This is your new football coach. Like it, love it, hate it, don't matter how you feel about it. He is your new football coach, right? And some people may be, upset about that. Some people may be mad. People may not be fucking with it. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Jerome, man. What up with it? King Louisville. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Y'all already know what time it is. Life is just a fucking wave podcast. Hey, look, man. Canales is your coach. Dan Morgan is your GM. He is your GM. And honestly, man, I'm trying to gauge the temperature of the room, man, because I have been on the fence the last time I talked to y'all about this move. The last live that we did, we talked about, how we felt about it. Dave Canales getting hired, y'all. And I don't know how the fuck I feel. Like I I'm excited about the potential of what this could be, but I also was excited this time last year about the potential of what this could be. So it's like as much as I want to get hyped because there's some shit that happened today that should have Panther Nation excited about the future. And I got a list of notes that we go get through, man. But there's some shit that happened today that should have the Panther fan base happy about the future. And it's about your owner, man. It's about your motherfucking owner. And I want to start there because before we even talk about, man, what Canales said and but what Dan Morgan said and everybody said, I think we have to start with the problem child, David Tepper, man. All right. So if anybody haven't checked out the again, I'm spoiler alert. I watched it. If you haven't watched it yet, man, go to fucking YouTube. I don't give a damn. Go to YouTube, watch the shit. However it go, whatever the case may be. But check it. Look, David Tepper gave a brief introduction. He didn't stay on the microphone long when he introduced Canales and Dan Morgan to come up there, which I guess Dan Morgan' new nickname is Demo. Shout out to Demo, man. Shout out to Demo. So that's what we're going to call him on here, man. Shout out to Demo. So Canales and Demo, man, pulled up to the stage, and David Tepper didn't have a lot to say. He did exactly what the fuck I wanted him to do. Go sit down in your motherfucking chair and let the coaches and the GM talk about what their plans are for this fucking football team. That is what I wanted to see out of our owner. I didn't want to hear you give me a long spiel about the process and what you did to figure out who the head coach was going to be. I didn't want to hear a long spiel from David Tepper about lessons learned or any of that shit. I wanted to see him give complete control over to the GM and the head coach, which what he did at that introductory press conference. I got to give your boy Tep some credit. Okay, I got to give your boy some credit because he's been doing things, man, this off season that has been very uncharacteristic of him. He's been doing a lot of that, right? A lot of things that have been super uncharacteristic of what type of owner that he's been up until this point. The fact that he handed his GM, hired his GM first, the fact that he allowed the GM to get a coach that he wanted instead of just putting guys together, you got to applaud him for doing that, man, because that is basically saying that, you know what, I'm going to let football people be football people. I'm going to let the people that actually know the game, that has played the game to the highest level, like a Dan Morgan, I'm going to allow them to build this thing the way that it needs to be fucking built. So I want to give a round of applause for David Tepper, man, and the job that he's done so far this all season, right? Now, it's yet to be seen if he made the right choices at head coach or at GM. It's way too early to understand that. But look, Canales got a 6 year deal, 6 year deal. And I'm gonna probably project how this shit is going to go, right? David Tepper is obviously an impatient ass owner. He wants instant success right now, but that's not the formula to how to get this team back to the promised land. That's not the formula. Instant success is why we're in the situation that we're in right now. Trying to get shit fixed right now is the problem and reason why we're in the situation that we're in right now. So he needs to take a fucking chill pill. And look, all he should be wanting to see over these next couple of years, next season, and really the only thing that I want to see is one, can Canales really bring the best out of Bryce Young? Can Bryce Young be protected better? Does he have weapons? Is he going to be a better quarterback next season, right? And I'm not saying being a top 5 quarterback in the league or even a top 10, but I want to see my young quarterback take strides in year 2 of his NFL career. That's what I want to see, and I want to see if Canales could do that. I'm not even necessarily worried about the record wise, right? Because 2-15, there's no reason why to think to myself why we can't be better than 2-15 this upcoming year, even if that's by just a game or two. I think that this year was the bottom of the bottom. I think it was the worst of the worst. I don't think that we're going to get any worse than what we were this football season, right? I don't see it. I don't see it. So I don't know if that means now we're 3-15. I don't know if that means we're 4-14. I don't know what it looks like, but I don't see the Panthers next season being as bad as they were this year. I just think that it's just impossible. I don't see that it happening. So what I want to see is my quarterback take strides. I want to see him be able to be on the field, being protected, throwing the ball, man, with confidence, showing confidence out there on the field, showing that he can live up to the big moments. That's what I want to see out of my fucking quarterback. And if I can see that, then Canales is doing exactly what he was brought in here to do. He was brought here into Charlotte to help Bryce Young get better. If Bryce Young gets better, that ultimately means the Carolina Panthers are going to be better. So that's what we want to see. My focus on the 2024 season is going to see how this offense improves, but it also starts with number 9. Number 9 needs to improve. And I think that that's what we're going to judge Canales off of as he goes forward through these first couple of years. So best case scenario, the Panthers not a playoff team next year, which I don't see that we will be a playoff team next year. I don't think you go from 2-15 to being in the postseason. Is it possible? Yes. If all the stars aligned and the planets aligned and everything and magical juices drunken and all of that shit, we could absolutely do that. But to me, that is a far cry, and I'm not even expecting that to or put those kind of expectations on this team. I want to see progression on the offensive side of the ball. I want to see us be able to score points. I want to see us be able to move the ball down the field efficiently. If we get down, that we showing some fight, that we can fight back and get back into the games. That's what I want to see out of the Carolina Panthers this upcoming season. And even if the record doesn't reflect, and I want Panther Nation to understand that, even if the record is not reflecting a winning season, that does not mean that it's a loss of a season. You have to remember, this is going to be technically year 1 of a rebuild. New regime, new GM, new head coach, and Bryce Young is technically going into his second year. Um, Everything is going to be fresh, man. The defensive side of the ball, I expect it to still be good. The reports out there is looking like Ejiro Evero will return. Canales spoke on that a little bit, and we're going to dive into some of the excerpts from the press conference here. But that should be the expectation for Carolina Panther fans is improvement. The word here is improvement. We're not looking to see substantial motherfucking growth in 1 year because there's no way you're going to fix this bad of a football team in one offseason. It's just not going to happen. So if I can see my offensive side of the ball a lot more improved, then Dave Canales has been doing exactly what he was brought here to do, and that is to improve Bryce Young and get this offense going. Um, so with that being said, let's go ahead and start with some of the notes before we bring the squad up. Y'all already know, man. Everybody pull up here to the channel when everybody pull up here to the channel. But let's go ahead and dive into some of the stuff, man, that was talked about. Dan Morgan, man, said a lot of interesting things, man. Which the things that he said. What's up, Dimitri? What's up, Big Waves? I still don't believe shit. I just want to see roster make a change. Yeah, it's gonna come, bro. It's gonna come in time. I think this roster is going to have to be constructed the correct way. I don't think that we need to Quan, you can pull up to the channel too, bro. I'm gonna drop the link, man, if you ain't got too much going on, because we're gonna talk about that a little bit. Actually, let me go ahead and drop the link for you now, man, because if you will bless the channel tonight, my brother. Give me a second, man. I'm gonna go ahead and drop the link out here early. I'm still going to get the opening soliloquy off, man. My thoughts on what it is, and then we'll bring the guys up here. Um, so Dan Morgan. Now, my overview of what I took from what he said is one thing that Dan Morgan believes in are the words "keep pounding." He believes in it. He lives it. He was a part of it. He's from that era. If you look at some of the things that he was saying about the type of players that he wants here in Carolina, he wants guys as tough as Steve Smith. I have not heard in the last 5 to 6 years Scott Fitterer say any goddamn thing remotely close to what the fuck Dan Morgan just said about I want a player as tough as Steve Smith. We all know that Steve Smith was a tough motherfucker. Little, small, but that motherfucker played with the confidence and the attitude of 100 fucking men. He said that he wanted players to come in with the toughness of Steve Smith. He wanted players with the smarts of a Jake Delhomme. He wanted players that were physical like Jonathan Stewart, that worked hard like Musim Muhammad. These are the players that build that keep pounding foundation of what this football team was in the glory days. Dan Morgan is from that. And one thing that I can get from what he was saying is that the culture, that's where this thing is going to be built. You have to build a culture first. First thing. That was the first thing that Dan Morgan spoke about. And I was so fucking happy to hear that because to me, it doesn't matter what kind of roster you have or what kind of coaching staff you have. If you cannot build a culture of winning and a culture that the players can believe in and have the right players to believe and push that culture forward and live that culture and breathe that culture and fucking bleed that culture, you don't have anything. So the culture and the identity is what he was speaking on. Carolina Panthers brand of fucking football. He goes on to say that he wants teams to fear the fucking logo when they pull up to Bank of America Stadium. Where has this been? He said he want people to fear the fucking logo when they pull up to Carolina Panthers Stadium, bro. Where has that talk been? You haven't heard that from Scott Fitterer? You didn't hear that from any of these past 3 coaches? You didn't even hear that shit from Steve fucking Wilkes. You want people to fear this fucking logo. That's what your GM said. That wasn't your head coach. That was your GM. He said that he want people to fear the logo when they pull up to fucking Carolina Panthers Stadium, bro. BOA. That when you pull up to this shit, you gonna know you in for a dogfight. And I got a list of fucking notes right here. He said that when you pull up to the Panther Stadium, you know that you're gonna be in for a fucking dogfight. What does that sound like? The glory days of Panther Nation. We used to hit fuckers in the mouth. Teams knew that when they played the Panthers, they was gonna get hit in the fucking mouth. Even if you won the game, you was beat the fuck up when you left Carolina, bro. You were beat up. He talked about, oh shit, I'm spitting this shit. God damn, excuse me, y'all. Oh shit, oh damn. Hey, pips fuck up. But look, he talked about Luke Kuechly. I'm passionate over here, man. Foaming at the goddamn mouth. I'm passionate about this shit because I'm sick of it. And the words of my GM today got me fucking inspired. This shit got me fucking inspired. He talked about players like Luke Kuechly and Julius Peppers, the dogs of this organization. He said that he wanted dogs in Carolina. And if your GM is saying that, bro, if your GM is saying that shit, your GM, not the fucking head coach, not the fucking head coach, your GM, if he's saying that, that means that the fucking culture is going to be built at the fucking top. The culture is going to be built at the top in that front office. Shout out to David Tepper for the reconstruction of this front office. Bringing in a Brent Tillis from Kansas City, a guy that comes from a winning culture. Yeah, he might be handling the business side of things, but best believe his impact will be felt. It will be felt. He knows what it takes to make the right moves. He's going to be handling player contracts and negotiations where he can tell a motherfucker like Brian Burns, hey, look, bro, you go take this money or you go get the fuck on. It's simple as that. We're going to give you what the fuck we're going to think what your worth is. We're going to pay you what your worth is, and that's that. Nothing else. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? That type of mindset. You got to give your owner, man, a job for how he's attacked this fucking offseason so far. He didn't go get a bunch of motherfuckers like he did last offseason. And I know everybody's going to sit up here and say, well, man, we was impressed with the coaching staff last year. But this was the difference. Those were guys that were put together. Those were not guys that were on the same page. You could tell by how the season went. Those guys weren't on the same page. They were just a bunch of big fucking names forced to be put together to try to make something and make it work. They didn't even like each other. They couldn't even agree on who they wanted at quarterback. That's not the same. You heard Dan Morgan to go on to say about alignment. He said the alignment needs to be in the front office and there needs to be strong bonds with this staff. He talked about strong bonds. You didn't hear this shit before. You didn't hear about the importance of everybody being on the same page. Everybody believing in one direction. In one fucking direction. That's what we need in Carolina. It's everybody to be focused on one thing. Push one agenda. Not motherfuckers going behind your back talking about the coach and the decisions that he's making. That was the toxic shit that we had in Carolina this past year. So you could tell already that this fucking GM already understands the importance of everybody being one beat, one band, one sound. That's what it's going to have to be. But shout out to Tepper for allowing the GM to pick whoever he feels like is necessary. Not forcing this shit. Allowing it to happen naturally. Sitting the fuck back. Don't you know that David Tepper at the fucking press conference, they asked this motherfucker. At the end. They said, Tep, do you have anything else to say? You know what David Tepper said? He said, when it was asked at the end, are you going to interview or respond to any comments by media? He said, no, I'm in the background now. Y'all, those was the most fucking magical words I've ever heard from David Tepper since he's taken over this football team. That man said, no, I'm in the background now. Y'all, let me light my shit up, man. I don't know what any of this means. This could be a whole nother fluff. It could be bluff. It could be, I don't know what any of this means. But what I've heard today from David Tepper, I've never heard him say anything like that at all. This man turned down interview requests. He didn't want to have any comments. He sat the fuck down. He didn't say anything. This man said it. I'm in the background now. That's exactly what you want to hear from your owner. Stay the fuck out of it. Let the football people be football people. That's what it's going to take to turn this organization and this franchise around. God damn it, boy. Man, look. Y'all don't get me started tonight, man. Shout out to everybody, man, that's pulling up to the channel, man. Y'all already know what time it is. Big motherfucking waves in the building. We talking about press conferences. What's your thoughts about it? Here we go. So when we talked about the type of people that Dan Morgan and players that he wants on this football team, he used words like he wants leaders, passionate players that want to compete no matter the circumstance. Bro, does this not sound like, and he went on to name Hall of Fame, some of the best Panther players that ever fucking come through here. He talked about, they asked him about one of the media asked him about, does he feel any pressure at all to turn this organization around? You know what this man's response was? He said, we don't feel any pressure, just hunger. We don't feel any pressure, just hunger. No pressure, just hunger. We just want to eat. We don't feel any fucking pressure. We know how bad it is in Carolina. This shit is terrible. We know what kind of owner we have. He's impatient. We're not worried about the pressure. We just need to eat. Just hunger. Bro, I'm telling you, man, I was so fucking inspired by hearing what he said. He said, this is going to be our DNA. This is going to be our DNA. When people drive up to BOA Stadium, that they're in for a fucking dogfight. We're tired of being the laughingstock of the NFL. When we pull up to the stadium, you're in for a dogfight. That's the type of shit that you want to hear your GM say. You don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that fucking shit from the head coach. I want to hear the motherfuckers in the suits say that. I want to hear those motherfuckers believe that shit. Because if y'all motherfuckers don't believe it, it don't matter what the coaches believe. The motherfuckers in the goddamn in the office with the suits and ties that's cutting the checks. Y'all gotta believe that shit. When you go in that fucking locker room, are you holding yourself accountable? This team been bad for a long fucking time, man. For a long time. And we sick of this shit, man. Us as a fan base is sick of this shit. We deserve better. Shout out to Dan Morgan. Demo. Don't call him Dan Morgan anymore. His name is Demo. The words of Dan Morgan. They asked him about the draft and would he potentially move up to the first round. You know what this man said. We don't have any urgency to move in the first round. We're going to stay where we're at 33, which is pretty much like a late first round pick. Anyway, he goes on to say, we're going to get a good player with the 33rd pick. Not being over aggressive. We could trade up in the first round and give up more assets. For what? We've been doing that. Stay where the fuck you at. Stay the course. Believe in your draft, in your staff to get the player that we need at 33. Don't be over aggressive. Don't fall for the traps. Stay at 33 and get the best player that you feel can help this football team at 33. I like what he said there. I don't want to hear we're in on every deal bullshit. That bullshit didn't fucking work. That bullshit is the reason why we're in the situation we're in right now. I don't want to hear none of that shit. Stay where you're at 33 and draft the best player that this staff and this regime feels like can help the Panthers at 33. Whoever it is. He says that he wants this shit in Carolina to be a family environment. He wants everybody to have the ultimate respect for everyone and hold each other accountable. We talked about accountability, something that this organization has lacked in the front office for a long time. Everybody just wanted to kiss David Tepper's ass and wipe his nose. No, we can't do that anymore. Let the football people be the football people. Sit the fuck back, your rich ass back. I don't even give a fuck if you ain't. You honestly don't even need to come to the games. You throwing drinks on people and shit. Watch the fucking games from at home and allow this team to run itself. He talked about a family environment where he want everybody from the staff in the training room to the lunchroom, everybody in here to be on the same accord. That's what it's going to take. No pressure, just hunger. That is the words of your GM. No pressure, just hunger. There is no pressure right now. We don't have any pressure right now in Carolina. There are no expectations. You have to go into the season and just play football, man. You can't be worried about how bad this team was and how bad and where we've been. You got to go in here and believe that we made the right choices and the right decisions and believe in your dream. And David Tepper, no matter what the results are at first, he's going to have to be patient and allow this shit to build to what it needs to be built to. That's from your boy Dan Morgan, man. What's everybody thoughts about Dan Morgan's piece? I want to see it in the chat, man. Shout out to everybody in the building. We got people already pulling up backstage, man. We about to get into this shit. But I want to go on to Canales now and talk about Canales and some of the things that stood out to me with Canales. And I got a list of what he said, man. So the first thing, he says that he has the ultimate respect for Ejiro Evero. He said that he went up against him 2 times. He knows what kind of how great of a defensive coordinator that he is and how difficult it is to game plan against a defense that he's coaching. Shout out to him giving respect to the strength of our team last season. That right there made me believe that Ejiro Evero will be returning this year to be the defensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers. We will have another top 5 defensive unit this year under Ejiro Evero. That right there, that made me feel good. I was happy about that. I was really happy about that. Retaining Evero was key. We needed to bring him back. All of the head coaches' positions are fulfilled right now. He's under contract. We're going to have Ejiro Evero here for another year. Another year. We're going to have him here for another year. So expect him to be back and that defense to be elite once again. Another thing that he fucking said that really goddamn makes me show that this hire was for Bryce Young. David Canales was hired for Bryce Young. He wasn't hired to be the savior of the Carolina Panthers. He was hired to develop our franchise quarterback that we invested so much in to get. You fix Bryce Young, you develop Bryce Young, the offense will be where it needs to be. The focus is on number 9. The focus is on how you make him better, how you protect him, how he can develop and get to where he needs to be. He said that it is critical for Bryce to get the ball out of his hands in 2.7 seconds or less. How specific is that shit? 2.7 seconds or less is how fast he wants Bryce Young to get the ball out of his hands. You know why he said that? Because he knows this offensive line is bad. He knows it's bad. He knows that Bryce Young is not going to have all fucking day. He knows it. Shout out to MDJ. He said if Tepper actually believes in Canales, what did he say? If Tepper actually believes in Canales, I think he will give him time to blossom. I said earlier, let me read it, man. Let me pull it up here. Come on, man. What the hell? He said that I said earlier, I think he knew Frank Wright had just fired mid-season and didn't believe in him fully anyway. Exactly, bro. Exactly. You make a good point about that. I feel like Tepper does believe in Canales. But getting back to what he said about Bryce Young getting the ball rid of in 2.7 seconds or less, that right there goes to show that he knows this offensive line is bad. And Bryce is going to have to get rid of that ball quick as fuck. Quick as a motherfucker. He's going to have to get balls about that. And even when they asked him about Bryce's size, he even admitted that Bryce's size is not going to be easy with his size, man. It can cause problems. Shout out to him admitting the fucking obvious. It can. But he goes on to say that this offense will be built onto what Bryce Young does well. That's what he goes on to say. This offense, when they asked him about what his offense is going to be, he simply replied, it's going to be built on what Bryce Young does well. That's how he's going to build this motherfucking offense. This offense is going to be built on Bryce Young. What he can and cannot do is how this offense is going to be built. So this goes to show, and this is telling me that he's going to tailor this to the strength of Bryce Young. He's going to tailor this offense to what Bryce can do and how he does it. And they also asked him about some shit too, man. And I want to hear y'all thoughts on this. They asked him about his social media presence, man. Uh Canales is a guy, a coach, man, that is very, very active on social media. When they asked him about why is he so active on social media, he simply said so that the fan base can hold him accountable. So that the fan base can hold him accountable for what he's doing. He says he wants the players to hold him accountable. He went on to say that, look, hey, if we're not doing good, he wants to hear about it. I like that shit, man. I like that shit. That's the kind of shit that I want to fucking hear. He said that he will post after games. He wants to hear from the fan base how they can hold him accountable, how he can be better. He wants the players to hold him accountable. Man. And they asked him in the reality of how he feels about taking on his job. He admitted it. I'm nervous, but I'm up for the fucking challenge. I'm nervous, but I'm up for the fucking challenge. I am nervous, but I'm up in for the fucking challenge. I believe in what we are going to do. We are going to become what Bryce is good at. That's what this offense is going to be. We're going to become what Bryce is good at. I haven't heard that in a long time, Waves. It's time for a shape up. Exactly, bro. You never heard a fucking coach come in here and say, we're going to do what the quarterback is good at. You didn't hear that shit from Frank Wright. You didn't hear that shit from Matt Rule. You didn't hear any of that shit. We're going to become what our quarterback is good at. Y'all, it's a new era in Carolina. A new fucking era for the Carolina Panthers. I can honestly say, from what I heard today, obviously there needs to be action. We know that there needs to be action. We know that these are just words. But you can tell from what I've taken from this that this organization is going to look completely different going forward. If you can't feel that, or if you didn't take that away from what has happened so far with Dan Morgan not only being the GM, but being the president of football operations, Brant Tillis, a guy that's coming from a winning organization that knows how to build a winning football team from the political side of shit in that front office. Getting a coach like Dave Canales, who believes in Bryce Young. He believes in Young. He believes that Bryce Young is our fucking future. And he's going to do every goddamn thing for him to be a better quarterback. I'm excited about this shit, man. I'm excited about it. Nigga Nation, everybody pull back up to the fucking channel, man. Waves, I was about to give up. Hey, Dimitri, look, I was about to give up too, man. I'm telling you. I can't take many more bad years of the Carolina Panthers. I really can't, man. I really can't. This has to be it. This has to be the year that we start this thing and build this shit the right way, man. That's all that it's going to take. Look, we done been bad. We done been at the bottom of the fucking barrel. We know this already. But what you have to understand and what we have to do as a fan is trust this process. Believe in it. We got to believe in it. We don't have no choice. We don't have a fucking choice but to believe in what the fuck these niggas are selling. We have no choice at all. We have to understand and trust that David Tepper is going to allow these guys to do what they need to do to make this football team an improve football team. But today was a good first step. And I want to get everybody's thoughts, man. What are y'all thoughts, man, about this shit, man? The link is out there in the chat. Anybody that want to pull up to the fucking channel, y'all already know what time it is, man. It's a new day. Today, I have yet to hear in all of the introductory press conferences we've experienced over the last couple of years, and it's been quite a few, but today was the first time that I actually felt like there's a plan. There is a plan, and they're going to stick to that plan. They have a goal, and they're going to work towards that goal together. I got a lot of togetherness out of that press conference today. I got a lot of alignment on that press conference today. I got that the motherfuckers that's sitting up there in the press boxes, they actually believe in what the fuck is going on. They believe it. They believe in what they're going to do. And that's what the fuck is going to take to make this football team better, man. You got to believe. You got to understand that this team is not going to be a quick fix. This is not going to be something that is going to be fixed right away. We're going to have to, it's going to be progression. That's all that you should want to see. That's all that you want to see is that this football team is getting better every day. That's all you should want to see. On the clock, they got to show me, man. I'm done with all the talking. I refuse to get my hopes up. I'm on a prove it type. I need to see some improvement moving forward. And that's exactly what I think that we're going to see, Quan. I think that we're going to see improvement. And that to me is really all that I want to see. I'm not setting any more expectations for this football team. I'm not. I'm not sitting here and saying, "Oh, we should be this or we should be that." Not doing it. I want to see this team get better. That's all that I want to see. I want to see in games next year, and we got a tough ass fucking schedule next year. I don't know whoever made the fucking schedule for the Panthers next year. They really don't give a damn about us because this schedule is fucking tough. The schedule is fucking tough, yo. We got a tough schedule. We play the AFC West next year. We got Nigga Nation in the building. Nigga Nation. What are your thoughts on the press conference today?
Natural, intellectual, go-getting achievers is in the building. Again, natural, intellectual, go-getting achievers is in the building. Nigga Nation, what's good?
Nigga Nation. What are your thoughts about the press conference today in the words of Dan Morgan and Dave Canales?
I don't give a fuck about the word. Go.
A man, a few words.
Yeah, I don't give two shits about the fucking press conference. Give me some wins. I don't care right now because at the end of the day, we were just here 365 days ago,
But
literally.
did you, but were you hearing what you heard today 365 days ago?
I mean, at the end of the day, I was hearing about we're gonna do this for Bryce. We're gonna do this. I don't want to hear none of that. All I
Well, we didn't
want
have Bryce
the
yet this time last year.
the main thing is I'm focused on what Dan Morgan is going to do. Like I told you yesterday, my thing is what is Dan Morgan going to do when it comes to free agency and draft? That's the biggest thing right now. We got to do shit in little pieces. And what I mean by that is see what Dan Morgan is going to do to shape this roster. And then once, Ricky mini camp and then your spring training camp and shit like that, But right now I don't have expectations. I just need Canales just to win 3 games, and that's a win for me. Because at this point, you know, I like his energy, but his energy don't mean shit to me if you can't get that locker room behind you. So it's gonna be real interesting to see. We don't know. We don't know if Avero gonna come back. That still hasn't broken yet. That
Yeah,
he
it's not official,
officially.
but I think he's going to be back. I think he's going to be back, man. It's not official. You got to remember he's under contract, right? And all the head coaching jobs they've been fulfilled. I don't think that he will leave Carolina to take on another defensive coordinator position somewhere else. I don't see that. I don't see that. Moving your family to take on the same role. I think that if he stays here, make this defense a top five defense again, he's guaranteed to get a head coaching opening next cycle.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, man, it starts with Dave Tepper. Dave Tepper stepped out the way. I appreciate that from Big Dave. Um, I just want to make sure that we sit here and just do right by Bryce, and then just win me some games, man. I just need to be back in the win column, man. Because right now, it sucks being a Panthers fan and a Hornets fan. So I'm not excited that we have a new coach. Um, I'm not excited about Dan Morgan's our GM. I just want to win. I don't care who the GM or who the coach is. Just fucking win. Show some effort. Because right now we don't know.
But what
We
if
can
the
sit here
wins don't come right away, but you're seeing improvement on the offensive side of the ball?
and we as Carolina Panthers fans don't have time for improvement. You gotta win. And I don't mean by winning by going to the playoffs. You gotta win. You gotta show that you can win or give more effort than fucking that you did last year. If we go into this year, mess around and 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 sitting here and do the same shit all over again. Stop. If we do that, it's a wrap. We cannot afford to keep going and having the bare minimums. Give me some fucking wins, dog. If you win more than 2 games this year, you're in the game, and that's improvement for me. But I'm not. I don't have time to wait for the third year from this shit to catch on because he's on a time clock. Canals is going to give basically 3 years, maybe 3.5, and if shit don't rock, then I'm telling you, we're gonna be back at square one again. But
So
it is what
so
it is,
okay,
man.
so Uncle Kwani said I disagree. It's not an immediate fix. That's where we've been fucking up these past few years. So and I agree with that, man. Like, I don't think that we should be like we listen, you're not going to see the wins that you want to see right away. I don't give a fuck who's in here coaching. You're not going to see 8 wins right away. It's not going to happen. We were too bad of a football team to automatically have the expectation that we're going to be winning. And I agree. If we're not progressing the way or in the direction that we should, or at least be in the direction that we should be going over these next couple of years, that's all that he's going to have. He signed a 6-year contract, but yeah, 3 years minimum. You got to see this team get better every year up under Canales. That's what I want. That's what I want to see. But I feel as if you're improving Bryce Young, then the wins are going to come. They're going to come. You're going to see that if the offense is being improved, the wins will come. I'm not focused on the win and loss column right now. I'm trying to figure out how we can put this team together the right way in order for us to be able to get. You got to build a winning culture. You can't win games without even having a winning culture. You got to teach this young football team how to fucking win first. They don't even know how to win. So to have an expectation of, hey man, we got to win. Look, that's that's something that has to be taught. That's a culture that needs to be built. You can't expect wins when the fucking culture has been losing, losing, losing. That shit has to be taught. That shit has to be implemented. That shit has to be embedded. That shit has to be birthed before you can even get to that phase. I'm not worried about that right now. What
Yeah,
I'm
but
worried
wait,
about
but
is how you
wait,
make
but
this team
wait.
better.
But wait, it has been situations when you bring in the right coach or whatever, and you have a blossom year. You got to understand, Houston didn't have an identity until this year. Yeah, they had like little pieces here and there, but they really didn't have an identity. It's all about if you can sit here and get that locker room behind you. All I'm saying is, if Canals can get the locker room behind you, that team is going to play for you. We have seen Matt Rule come in here, fuck it up. We have seen Steve Wilkes build it back up. We have seen what's his fucking name who just left? Uh
Frank Wright.
Frank Wright. We just had him come in here and had it looking like a shit show. And then you had Tabor as an interim who just said, fuck it, let me just get these couple of weeks out the way and it's over. If you don't have this team in that locker room, I don't give a fuck who you with. You're not gonna be good.
But that's what
And
the
it's
culture I'm talking about. That's the culture that I'm talking about that has to be developed in the locker room, bro. You got to you have to build that culture first. That's something that has to be built up in the locker room first, and that'll translate to the football field, man. We got CLT in the building. CLT, got to hear your perspective, man, on the press conference. What's good with you?
What's up, fellas? Y'all can hear me?
Yes, sir.
Uh, just want to say what's up to y'all boys. I hope everybody doing good. But basically, man, when I listened to the press conference, I wanted to see what our coach mindset is. I heard a lot of balance. I heard a lot of like you said, playing to Bryce Young's abilities. But I'm also with Nigga Nation, man. We were just in this position last year. Um, can't get too high on words, right? We need some action. What I did take away from the press conference that I did like, that I can't lie, is when they asked Dan Morgan about trading, trying to hurry up and get to the first round pick. He said, "No, we don't need it. We got the number 33, basically a late second round. We're gonna focus on drafting, so we don't have to focus on trading. Let's focus on drafting and getting the right players with the draft picks that we do have." So I like the depth point. But other than that, I just want to see what they're gonna do. I'm not gonna get too high up on words.
Yeah, and I think that that's the mindset that everybody has right now, right? We got to see the results, man. I think that that's fucking obvious. But as many of these fucking introductory press conferences y'all done sat through under David Tepper, I have not heard the words that I heard today come out of those introductory press conferences. Even with Frank Wright last year, man, I was skeptical about a lot of shit that he fucking said. And this is before we even got Bryce Young, and we didn't even knew who the fuck the goddamn quarterback was going to be. I didn't even like the shit that he was talking about at the press conference, man. It was a lot of unsureness. It was a lot of question marks. But from what I've taken away from this shit, CLT and Nigga Nation, I'm taking that they have a fucking plan. And it's a plan to me that it sounds like that we're going to take our time. We're not going to be in on every fucking deal like your last GM was talking about. And we're going to build this shit the right fucking way. We're going to tailor this offense to what your quarterback can do. How did y'all feel about what him saying, man? Listen, Canales admitted that Bryce Young's height and size is a realistic thing to worry about. He said that. But what does Canales have history and experience of doing? Working with shorter quarterbacks. Hence him working with Russell Wilson. Hence him working with Baker Mayfield last year. So he knows that the height thing is something that is an issue. It is a problem. But he goes on to say that we're going to become what Bryce Young does well. What was y'all thoughts about that?
shit. I mean, so check this out, and we got to understand this, right? Bryce has been on good teams all his life, right? So it's kind of hard to sit here and say that we want him to do what he does best, which is throw the ball, right? He's phenomenal throwing the ball when he has time. He's phenomenal when he has, weapons around him. This was our first time and Bryce's first time actually being in a situation where he don't have top talent. So you got to bring some talent around in order for that type of situations to happen. And now I'm not talking about like go ahead and get the number one lineman, the number one receiver, shit like that. You got to get some guys that's willing to play for Bryce and play for the team. But if again, this is where it relies on Dan Morgan. Dan Morgan is calling the shots. He says he's a football player, right? That means he knows who's to hire. He knows who to bring in. So I'm hoping that he knows best, and I hope he takes that philosophy with Dave Gettleman. Even though Dave Gettleman is a real New Yorker, go get them hog mollies. Go get that offensive line, that defensive line, and then everything will take care of itself. Because you got to think about it. Even though our defense was so-called top three or top five or whatever, we couldn't get to that fucking quarterback.
Now we struggled with pass rush, man. We was
We
32nd in the NFL in pressures. Last.
badly. Offensive line, you second in the league, 62 sacks. I think that's the main thing you need to focus on is getting some big bodies in this motherfucker. Fill that motherfucker up. You can take care of the linebacker and the safety and quarter and whatnot, but if it starts up front, so you know, I love that Canales wants to do some good things with Bryce, but shit, man, you better make sure he got an offensive line that's gonna protect and give him enough time in the 2.7 seconds you want him to release that ball.
Yeah,
So,
I agree with that. I definitely CLT,
so
man. How you felt about
straight
him
up.
saying that shit about Bryce?
I mean, that's just the truth. That's just a fact. I mean, any person that's going to tell you that they're not worried about his height is fucking lying. It's exactly what Fern Wright did. It wasn't a concern. How the fuck is not a concern when it's all over draft analysts? It's fucking proven history that's going to be that possibly could be a problem. So that was just a standard answer to me.
Standard answer. Okay. I mean, I understand that too, man. But doesn't it seem like though, man? Like we understand from what I got from Dan Morgan and what I got from Canales is that we understands what our deficiencies are as a football team, right? And to address those deficiencies, man, at the press conference, that's something that we have not heard. We have not heard that, man. Tepper said that Morgan said that he wanted players in here like Steve Smith. He wanted players in here like Luke Kuechly. You ain't heard that shit. You haven't heard that.
What I can say, what though, what I do like is I feel like these two guys are paired, right?
Paired, yeah.
I don't feel like we had uh, a relationship between GM and coach in a while. So I feel like these two guys genuinely like each other and gonna respect each other's opinions. So I feel like we gotta have that between GM and coach to build a good team. So I
And,
like that part.
and what about the Brant Tellis hire, man, from Kansas City, bringing him in, coming from a winning organization to help that office to bring stability. And man, I want to hear you give David Tepper some props, man. I don't think that we giving him enough props, man, for what he said today about. He said, I'm in the background now." We haven't heard your owner say that, man. That's what I'm saying. If anything you took away from today, you've heard shit that you haven't heard before. I know we got to see the action, man. I know we got to see shit goddamn out there on the football field, but we ain't gonna see that shit, man, until next August and next September. But you cannot say that. Go
That's
ahead.
like I ain't gonna lie to you. It's like your bitch cheating on you, and they say let's go to counseling. Like nobody cares about this shit, bro. He done fucked up too many times, bro. He's talking about action, bro. Nobody give a fuck about him saying he's gonna step back.
And that's
Like
why I
nobody
say
cares.
nobody gives a fuck about words, man. We all about action at this point, man. It's been almost 8 years since we had a fucking winning season and playoffs and won a playoff game. We never had a back-to-back winning season in the history of the Carolina Panthers. Something has to give, and I say fuck that. Fuck what they talk about on press conference. Give me some goddamn wins. We have to win, and if this culture, you want to build a culture, it's a winning mentality starting now. I'm tired of watching at 1 o'clock and sometimes at 4 o'clock us getting our fucking ass kicked. Something has to give, dog. And I don't want to hear, well, we just gonna have to just build towards the dog. The first step is win more than 2 games. That's the first step. If Canals wins more than 2 games, he done something. He's better than last year. Just give me more than what we did last year. And I'm okay with that. But
So y'all, you
again,
don't.
go
So
ahead.
from what I'm getting from you is you're more concerned about us winning the games as to being able to build what it takes to win the games. You
At
want
this
instant
point, good brother,
gratification.
8 times 365 days, you do the math. That's how long I've been waiting to get a fucking winning culture. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to wait till my kids are 18. I don't want my kids to wait till they're 18 plus to the point where they don't see a fucking Super Bowl till then. You know what I'm saying?
I feel it. I feel it. We got
So,
popping in the building.
sorry
Popping,
for the
what's
nigga
good with it?
babies yelling in the background.
What's up with you, man?
What's good with it? Popping, long time no here, man. How you been?
Man, maintain it, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good, man. What's your thoughts on the damn press conference today, man? I want to hear it.
Um, I feel everybody frustration. Don't nobody like to keep losing. Don't nobody like to keep hearing bad shit going on in your organization. But I think this is the first time that we've seen some continuity with two guys who said they are aligned, and that not only that, the front office, the business side, and the football side got to be on the same page. So that means Mr. Tepper himself, we know all the bullshit you've been doing on the background, all that shit got to stop. Hold on, fire truck.
Nah, you good, fam. You good. But
But
isn't it
yeah,
good to isn't it good to hear him fucking say that I'm sitting the fuck back though? He
uh,
ain't never said that shit.
I don't, but no, David Tepper's a liar. I don't know. He might be feeling good today, and then the next minute, when we ain't getting these W's, because anybody saying that they want to win right now, I feel your pain, but
But
you're
at the
not
same,
gonna you're not gonna win right now. There's too many holes and pieces, and we only got six
it ain't
picks,
about winning right
and we
now. Just
hold
give
on,
me
hold on,
more than
brother.
what
Let me
we did
finish.
last
Let me
year.
finish. And we only got like roughly around $30 million that we got to sit here and try to find how to get some more money to pay the guys that actually do their job to stay on the team. So it's gonna take some time to
And
actually
also,
get a winning culture here.
Go ahead, CLT.
them reports come out like a week ago. He said GM and coach gonna report directly to him. Didn't he say that? This is like just last
Oh
week.
yeah, but man, that's the structure of pretty much every organization though, and then even the Kansas City Chiefs, they report to they Reed and the GM report to their owner out there, man. So
But
I mean, I'm not yeah, I can't hear you, CLT. You breaking up?
if it's if it's common if it, that's common sense, but why is it being spoken on if you saying in the same breath you won't step back?
Yeah, I think
I
that's more
said
formalities than
that's
anything. Yeah, that's more formalities than anything, CLT. I don't think that was like saying to myself, hey, look, we go have a meeting. Unlike Frank Wright, him saying like, oh, I meet with Tepper every Tuesday or I meet with him every Monday to talk about shit. When that shit was happening last year, bro, that goes to show you that Tep really didn't have any faith in Frank Wright, bro. He didn't. I don't think that he believed in Frank Wright. Hence why he got rid of him so goddamn quick. I don't think that he had the faith and belief that he was going to take him. Look, like man, so this is the approach that I'm trying to take, man. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong. Last year's circumstance was more of we're going to try to find the best names out there on the market, man, to force this team to be better. We're going to go get the most experienced coaches. A lot of these guys that, if you remember, Frank Wright brought in a lot of guys that he didn't even work with in the past before. He brought a lot of these guys was the first time them really working together, man, and being on the same page. That shit matters. Like you got to have some kind of continuity with these amongst your staff, man, before you try to put motherfuckers together and say, "Hey, man, go win me some fucking football games." And that's something that wasn't done before. Frank Wright ain't never worked with goddamn with Scott Fitterer before. You know, Dan Morgan has had 7 years already prior with Canales. Canales, if you looked at the staff and the people that he brought in, man, as his coaches, these were guys that he already had experience with. The guys that he brought in from Seattle, guys that he brought in from Tampa Bay, these are his guys. The people that he want here so that they can make sure that everybody is on one motherfucking level and one motherfucking accord. That's important, fellas. It's super important, man. Like you have to be able to do that. That's you need because again, if you don't have that continuity amongst the front office and the coaching staff, then that's how you have two different motherfuckers calling plays in one season. That's when you have reports coming out of players going to, coaches going behind the head coach back, talking to David Tepper about what he's doing and what he's not doing. We don't need any of that shit, man. Like to me, if anything that we've done already is you fix the top. The top has to be fixed. The results, we don't know what the results are going to be yet, but the approach that you took to restructure the front office, that is a formula to build this bitch. I don't know if it's going to equal instant success. I don't know if it's going to work out, but at least you did the right thing by hiring a third party firm to bring in, this coach and this GM and making a decision and shit where it needs to be made. That continuity, that's what you need, man. You got to have that shit. So I at
Uh,
least give Tabor the respect for that shit.
how did you feel about, because on the other platform, a lot of people are angry that Dan Morgan got the job, and while he was there, they feel like he sat there and allowed Scott Fitterer. He didn't raise his voice or state an opinion while Scott Fitterer and Tepper were making all these bad decisions while there was rats in the building. Like a lot of people feel like Dan Morgan was part of that and just sat by and while we exploded.
So how do I feel about that, man? Honestly, it's like this. We don't know how much power and authority Dan Morgan really had in that front office, right? Like we really don't know. It's hard for me to answer that question because I don't know. Nobody really, they never really defined what Dan Morgan role was outside of just being the assistant GM. But when you go back and you look at the footage of him in the goddamn and when they were all sitting in the draft room and all of that shit, man, you can kind of see that they really weren't listening to nothing that he had to fucking say anyway, right?
I swear
And
he
again,
looked
I don't
confused.
want
He
nobody
looked
think that
confused
I'm.
in the draft. He looked confused
Yeah,
to
he
me.
looked. He really did, and he did. He did. I don't want anybody thinking that I'm up here trying to defend these guys. All I'm applauding is the process to bring it together. I think that this
Then,
was the right moves to bring this together. We don't know if it's the right people, but it was the right moves to bring it together. Is what I'm saying.
then you gotta look at the press conference as well.
How they
He thanked Scott Fitter, man. Scott Fitter gave him an opportunity to become assistant manager. He brought him from Seattle, so it's like how you gonna go against who gave you the opportunity? You know what I'm saying? He thanked him as a friend. So you just gotta take that into account as well.
You want to hear my opinion on that? That was
Yeah,
CLT, right?
Yeah, I do want to hear your
yeah,
opinion.
yeah.
I think that was a
Yeah, that was
subliminal shot.
CLT. Yeah.
I think that was a subliminal shot. That was a perfect way of killing you with kindness. Because he's saying basically, thank you for fucking up and not listening to anything that I said, and let me show you how I can do this. I'm gonna show you what you didn't do, how to do it right. Because I told you, if you draft hurt players gonna stay hurt. I told you, so and so. Y'all didn't listen to me. This is just my speculation. I have no facts on this. But I think that he was always overriding. Even if there's one person, you got to think process of elimination. If we about to play a basketball game and the head guy said, "Hey, we're gonna run these plays," and one guy's like, "I don't think we should do that," everybody else that says yay, they gonna go with it. So you're like, "Well, shit. What am I gonna do?" Everybody else want to go with that way, so I got to go with the team. And now that he has the captain hat on, he can run the ship the way it should be. Hopefully, the right way. If Titterer stays out the way.
And to me that's go ahead. See who I don't know who was about to say that. Go ahead, nigga nation.
Nah, I'm listening. Do you think?
Yeah, so this is I want to say something about that too because if you sit up here and really think about it, and again, Dan Morgan role as the assistant GM, y'all tell me where y'all found the information at. I've never read anything like what his responsibility was when he got named the assistant GM. You never knew what his responsibility was, like what he had input over, what was he helping with, what his control was, what he was able to do, what he wasn't able to do. You never heard that. Like you never heard that come out during Scott Fitterer's reign as the GM. But what I did fucking hear is how he was going to be in on every fucking deal. And Scott Fitterer, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's I guess what I'm saying, fellas, is man, we have to understand that Dan Morgan, what I like about the hire with him and what I like about him bringing him in is that he's from the era of Carolina Panther football and knows what it means to be a part of keep pounding and bringing that back to the Carolinas. Y'all heard what he said, man, how he named players that we all respect as Carolina Panthers greats. Like, I got a feeling, man, that you go see a bunch of the Carolina Panthers former players and shit. They gonna be on the fucking sidelines, man.
Yeah, he
I
said we're gonna
really,
make it a
Hey,
family.
hey,
He said
yeah.
we're gonna bring y'all back.
check this out.
Go
And
ahead.
this, it, so I know he's a great, and I hope y'all know he's a great. Y'all can see Cam Newton is a great, right?
Yeah, he is.
Okay, I mean, it's quite kind of quite odd that they say his name on. I know you can't name everybody, but
Right. Yeah.
we need that motherfucking swagger back, man. We need that shit. You know what I'm saying? But one thing I'm excited about, we got somebody as a GM who played the game. So
He
since
played.
he played the game, I'm expecting him to find that middle linebacker we need in the next year or two in that draft. And again, that's what we really missing. At the end of the day, we don't have that. You can't say Shaq Thompson.
Enforcer. Yeah, that
Yeah,
enforcer on defense.
yeah,
I get what you're saying.
we need that motherfucker. Frankie Louvu, he's suspect. I mean, I don't see him every day doing. You know what I'm saying? And then you got Burns, who just moping about a contract. And then I don't know who else is behind when it comes to linebackers. But you got to find that middle linebacker. And I'm expecting Dan Morgan to get that in a year or two.
Yeah,
You want to
I go ahead.
hear something kind of crazy that I didn't even think about? Well, none of us would have known.
What?
I was listening to 99 a fan. I ain't trying to shout them out or anything, but it was a good
Yeah.
nugget that one of the guys dropped. One of the guys was there in the press conference, and he said, "Man, I was shocked that Dan Morgan named about all the legends that was sitting in that office. I mean, in that press conference, and there were current players there, Corbett, Icky, and a few others, and he did not spotlight them at one time. So that is what he's trying to say is he's letting them know your job is not secure because you don't have no dog in you. You
Right.
are not what we're looking for. You just trying to sit here and support me, but I don't need your support. I'm looking. Don't worry about my job. Worry about your job because
That's
how y'all
facts.
playing, this ain't what I'm looking for. I'm looking for dogs.
Yeah, I don't know why the fuck Ecom Kwanu was there. I mean,
Trash.
out of all players, I don't understand what the fuck he was doing there at all.
Zavala was there too. Zavala,
Yeah,
Corbett,
yeah,
and Icky.
yeah. All three of them motherfuckers, to me, they need to get the fuck up out the building. I think that they were there just off of the strength of like, hey man, I need to do this to keep my job. Like, I'm here to
Absolutely.
support these guys
You
to keep
go.
my
It's
motherfucking job.
it's gonna be good depth in the long run, But Icky, if they don't move him in the interior, it's a wrap for him. I cannot see him being a left tackle again this year, dog. The way
Oh
he
yeah,
flopped this year, I cannot see it.
yeah, he flopped big time.
I'll give Icky
That
another
new
year.
offensive line coach that we have, I can't do it, Poppin. I can't do it. Like he's been that bad, man. He's been that bad. I don't know if we can afford to give him another year because I feel like it's going to be that one missed block, man. Let's go do Bryce Young in, man. I
Well,
can't afford to give it to him, man. I really
I'm
can't
not,
afford it
I'm not a Bryce
because,
Young
man.
fan,
So
but,
I
but
mean, I know, Poppin. I
I
get
get
that
your
you're not a Bryce
frustration.
Young fan.
Yeah, I get your frustration though for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. Like I'm
It's
not mad
sophomore
about.
slump.
Listen, Bryce Young. Yeah, listen. No matter how you feel about Bryce Young, he is our quarterback. You don't have to like him. You don't have to love him. You can go back all day and start debating about if we should have took Stroud and all that shit. None of that shit is fucking irrelevant anymore, man. We gave up the house to get this guy, and this is going to be our guy, right? We can't worry about if we made the right decision anymore. That shit is bullshit. We can't even focus on that anymore. He is the quarterback, and you got to figure out how to maximize what we have back there underneath center. So I'm no longer on the days of trying to figure out did we make the right decision. Listen, he's going to be here every bit as much as the rest of his rookie contract, right? So it will he pan out to be a great quarterback? I don't know. I'm not a fucking fortune teller. I don't know. But what we can do is to give him all of the tools to allow him to have success, right? And also tailor an offense, man, that's going to be beneficial to what the fuck he can do to his weaknesses and his transgressions, which we know he's a small quarterback, right? And so, how are you going to help a small quarterback get better? You're going to have to be able to run the ball. You're going to have to be able to protect him, and you're going to have some weapons on the outside, man, in that tight end that can fucking get open. Something that we have not seen this year under the former Panther regime. So, Ikami Kwanu, bruh, is Even before Bryce Young got here, he was sucking it up. To me, I can't what he's been fucking doing. I 100% agree with Nigga Nation. He needs to be moved to the interior, and you go pick up a left tackle, man, in free agency. Go get a veteran left tackle. Pay somebody big money to come in here and protect Bryce Young's blind side, man. That's what you're gonna have to do. Economy Quantum, I've seen enough. I don't need to see any more to say that he's not a left tackle at the NFL level. He's not.
One
I've
thing I did like the Canales said, I thought it was interesting. Even though I'm not a Bryce Young supporter, he said we're going to do whatever Bryce Young is good at.
we're gonna
He said that
become what Bryce Young is. That's what he
right,
said.
right. So
Yeah,
he said that Brady had a curve. I mean, not Brady. Baker had a curve, and
right.
I guess once they sat down and analyzed what he's good at, they put him in positions and put in plays that they thought he would be comfortable. Because to be honest with you, Bryce Young struggled a lot throwing off that back foot. So I'm hoping that we'll see something um,
Yeah,
of that
yeah,
transition. And you're right. I mean, we got him for at least another year or two, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if Canales wants to hang his hat or his job on Bryce Young. I wouldn't if that wasn't my quarterback, but that's just me. But hey, I mean, we got nothing but time, y'all. And I don't want to just win. I want to win like a lot. So whatever they
right.
need to do to fix this, it's going to be a slow process. It's not going to be a good year coming up, guys. I'm telling y'all, we got a hard schedule, but I do want to
Yeah,
see
we
some
do.
competitiveness. I do need to see some
You,
competitive, man.
and just to piggyback off your point of why I don't want to see us win, because to Nigga Nation's point that he said not too long ago, we haven't had back-to-back winning seasons. So what would be good of us winning this year and then the next year after that we trash again? That's even in the Panthers' glory days. That was the formula. We would have one fucking good season, and then the next year we was a piece of shit. And that was with the players that Dan Morgan was naming. We have yet to have back to back winning. I don't want to have instant success. I want long term success. I want to know that coming into a season every fucking year, at minimum, we're going to be a playoff contender, just like the Eagles, just like the Chiefs, just like the Bills and the Bengals and all of the teams that we see in the postseason every year. I want long-term success. I don't want to see instant gratification for one fucking year. I don't want to see that. I want long-term success here in Carolina. So everybody that's sitting up here talking about, hey, hey man, I just want to see wins. I just want to see wins. That's not the key to fucking success. That's not how this shit is going to be built. We cannot build our team off of that just to get wins. What is the glory of having? We could come out next year and shock the fucking world. I highly doubt it, but we could come out like that. But what is that going to do for us? What is that going
It's
to do
gonna
for
get
this football
it's
team?
gonna it's gonna give the fans hope. As for me, you got to okay. So how many games realistically do you want to win? I mean, I'm okay with fucking 5. You know what I'm saying? Because it's better than last year. So we got to go off last year. We always got to compare from last year. If it's a step up or a step down, we need to
If
step up from last year. And if we
Yeah.
don't, we're going to be irritated fans again. That's
Well,
but
why
to
I'm
me, if
saying.
we
the
win
schedule's
5
harder
games,
too,
that's
though.
A hell of a season to me.
Yeah,
Like
the
like for
schedule's
real.
way harder, bro.
It's
And I
10
think
times harder this year.
about what Wade was trying to say is instant grits don't stick. You need real grits to stick, bro. That's the one that holds you down. Them instant grits wear off you. It's a quick fix. You just
I'd
got to
rather
give these
have a
guys
quick
time.
fix because it's gonna be it's hard
You've been you've been
it's
doing
hard to
that
be like a
though.
Pittsburgh. It's hard to be a Pittsburgh Steelers. Ain't
So
no way.
listen,
It's hard to do a 17-year stretch.
your quick fix just happened right in front of your eyes. They went out in free agency and went and got you a Thielen. They went out there and got you a Pro Bowler, DJ Chark. They tried. It didn't work. So you have to reformulate your plan and get something that's gonna have longevity to it. That quick fix is not. It's just like your tire, bro. If you get a nail in your tire, you not gonna just sit there and just keep rolling with the fix it
Keep
flat,
getting
are
it
you?
patched up. Yeah, keep
Yeah,
getting
you
it
gonna
patched.
eventually get a tire.
Listen to this schedule that we play next year. These are our opponents. We got obviously the NFC South, which I expect the Falcons to be a lot better this year. They're going to get a quarterback. Raheem Morris, the Falcons are just a quarterback away from really controlling the NFC South for quite some time. They really are. They are really just a quarterback away because they have running backs, they have a good offensive line, they have weapons, young weapons, and they defense is there. Jesse Bates arguably could have been the best safety in the NFL last season. In the NFL last year. They are just a quarterback away from being dominating this NFC South for a couple of years. So outside of our division, you got the Dallas Cowboys, you got the Kansas City Chiefs, the Harbaugh Chargers, which I expect the Chargers to be a much improved football team under Harbaugh. You got the Bengals, you got the Eagles, you got the Broncos, you got the Commanders. They're going to be an improved football team under Dan Quinn. If the offense is not going to be good, best believe that defense is going to be great. You got the Oakland Raiders who have a coach. They're going to play inspired football now. That if they fix their quarterback situation, you can watch out for that. Their defense was a lot better than what it's been in years past. You got an up and coming Chicago Bears team where we could actually be going up against a Caleb Williams, or maybe if they keep Justin Fields, and maybe they take a Harrison. If they keep Justin Fields, and maybe they take Marvin Harrison, and now they have a Harrison and DJ Moore combo, and an up and coming tight end in Cole Kmet. This schedule is fucking brutal for the Panthers next year, bro. It's brutal. It's a brutal schedule, man. We got the Chiefs, Cowboys, Chargers, and Bengals at home. We played them here in Carolina. We got a Denver Broncos team that, depending on their quarterback situation and how they could play, like honestly, this schedule is tough. This is a tough fucking schedule next year.
Seven of those teams went to the playoffs.
Right, exactly. So we're playing 7 playoff opponents next season. And then we're not even counting the divisional games. The Buccaneers are not just going to fall off. They're not going to just fall off. They got a lot of people to pay, but they're not just going to fall off. They're not going to disappear. Baker Mayfield played good. Threw for 4,000 yards and threw way more touchdowns than he did interceptions. They're not going to just fall off. I don't know about the Saints. I'm not a believer in their coach, and I'm not a believer in Derek Carr. But the Falcons and the Bucks, you definitely got to worry about them. So to me, in my eyes, if we win 5 fucking games next year, dog, Canales is our guy. Bryce Young is our quarterback. If we win fucking 5, I don't even listen. Based off of this and where we are right now as a team, at this particular moment, bro, if we win 3 to 4 games, that's improvement from where we were at this year, bro.
That's what I'm saying. If we win more than 2 games, I'm okay with that. Because regardless of what y'all saying, bro, Tepper's stepping back. But I'm going to tell you right now, if I'm a motherfucking billionaire and I go through another season like this where we're fucking 2-15 or whatever, that motherfucker gone. You got to understand, bro, we got to be better than next year. And if it's not better than next year, we're going to be in some shit. You got to win more than 2 games. I don't give a fuck if it's 3 or 4.
That I believe that will happen.
Just improve, dog. That's all you need.
That's just all that I want to see. But what I'm telling you, that improvement may not necessarily mean you're winning, 6 or 7 games. That's all that I'm trying to say. To me, improvement, if we win one, to me, improvement, like I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I'm not necessarily worried about the win-loss column unless we are 2-15 again, or we only win 1 game, right? I'm not worried about the win and loss column because our defense is good enough to keep us in football games. We only got blown out about 5 times this past season. And that's out of 18 games. We only got blown out. As bad as we were, we only got blown out in about 5 games. Every other game, we had a chance to win. The Green Bay game, we had a chance to win. We had a whole bunch of other opportunities throughout the game, through the season, that we had to win if we could actually score some fucking points. That's what I want to see. If the offense is scoring more points and we still losing the game, to me, that's improvement. Because what has been our kryptonite over the last 5 or 6 seasons? We have not had an offense. We have not had an offense. So to me, I don't give a fuck if we 3-14, 3-15 next year. As long as the offense is putting up more of a fight and our quarterback actually looks better than what he did this year, that's improvement. That's a step in the right direction.
And
I
look, it
don't
ain't
need
that
to
hard.
right
Yeah,
and
but
Because all you
the
had to do
first
was score
direction,
more than 17 points,
that's it.
and you won, and everybody will win. The other team will win. 17 points. And for the life of me, can we find us a backup kicker?
I
It
don't
seems
know,
like
man. I don't know about Eddie Pinero, man. I really don't
every,
know.
every year we got somebody on defense kicking the ball off. This year we had Von Bell kicking it. The year before that we had what was that wide receiver from Minnesota? Oh, I can't think of his name. He had to kick it. Can we not? Can the punter not kick field
for the
goals?
love
Like,
for the love of God, if you're gonna take care of somebody, you get Ian Thomas off this fucking team.
Yeah, he
That's who
got to
you need
go.
to go ahead
yeah,
and get him to
he
the
probably will
curb.
be gone. He probably will be gone. Yeah, I'm
I
pretty
think
sure
he will
they're
be. Yeah, I
gonna
think they
take that
said
hit
by
on a
cutting
cap
him,
like $3 million. But
yeah, it'll save us like 3 million in cap if we cut him. Um, I think
what
they
you doing at
said who else?
33?
They said getting Terrace Marshall Jr. off the. I think it'll save us about 2 to 3 million getting him off the books. They were saying somebody else, like some lineman, that we could get off the books too. That'll save us some cap space.
Man, you can
Is
get rid
what?
of Corbett because he already had 2 injuries back to back. I mean, it
Yeah,
was
Brady
over for him,
Christensen as
dog.
well. You got to get rid
Brady,
of Brady Christensen as well.
if Brady don't come back for his ankle and he don't do better,
I
then
keep
yeah, you
Brady.
can let him
I
walk.
keep Brady.
You don't have a lot of money, man, to go out here in free agency to spend, man. Some of these
It's
guys are
true.
gonna stay.
It's
Yeah,
true.
that's true.
And then you, like I said, because of what Scott Fitterer being a gambler like he was, keep jumping up in the draft and letting just the draft board fall to him. You know, you usually keep about 9 offensive linemen. Well, last year we had like 6 guards that were hurt.
Yeah,
We
we
never had
did.
no
We had a lot of
consistency.
injuries on the line.
So with that being said, at number 33, where are you going? Where
For
are you
me,
going?
it's simple, man. For me, I think you go wide receiver at 33. You know, I
Now,
think to me, I think you have to. I think you got to get
We don't
Bryce
have
Young weapons,
we don't
man.
we, we don't have a good track record picking a wide receiver with the
Yeah,
second round. I mean,
yeah,
look at that.
that shit got to
History
fucking
shows.
change. That has
you
to
can't let
change.
Steve Smith pick your weapons.
Yeah, that shit has to change. Like you need to find a young wide receiver that you can develop and really potentially make another one. I know what people saying about Mingo. I don't know if Mingo has that number one wide receiver potential. He may end up being a good number two for Carolina, but I think that you need a young dog that can stretch the field, a Tank Dell, Josh Downs type of player, somebody with speed that can stretch the field. You got to give somebody that Bryce Young can grow with, man, that can create separation. And to me, I'm going wide receiver there. The line, I think, man, if you get a tackle and one interior guard, that's enough for at least this offseason. At least this offseason, because you're not going to be able to repair the whole offensive line in one offseason. But getting a veteran left tackle, moving Icky to interior to guard, so that'll fix one of the guard spots. I think that Icky will thrive at guard because if anything, he's a big fucking body, but he just can't be on the outside because he doesn't have the speed or athleticism to guard the NFL defensive ends at an elite level on the left side.
He's good with the run block. Pass block, he's terrible. Run
Right.
block,
So
yeah.
So
move
let
him
me
to
ask you this.
interior. You got to go wide receiver at 33. That's
Let
that's
me.
that's that's what I would think.
I get that everybody wants to get a weapon, and now this is a deep wide receiver draft.
It is. It
This
is.
is also a deep offensive lineman draft. It don't matter what weapon you get out there if you can't protect Bryce, and that would be for any quarterback to sit back there. You can't throw it to your weapon. Throw to any of your weapons if he can't. I mean, he holds the ball too long. He does a lot of things wrong. And actually, he from his stats, he's had. I think he's number one of holding the ball the longest this year out of all quarterbacks. But just saying though, because he's a rookie, the coaches failed him with all the bullshit they were doing in the office. But can't no quarterback throw the ball if they don't have protection.
Oh, I
And
100% agree.
if it was me, I would get the best interior guard I could at 33, and then my next pick, I'll get the best wide receiver. That's
Yeah.
how I
See,
would go.
See, my thing about it is, man, drafting another, because we really have invested a lot in the draft in O line. We took a O lineman, just 2 years ago in the top 10. Even though Savala ain't really turned out to be what he wanted to be, but you did draft him in the third round, or what was it, third or fourth round last year?
Fourth round.
Yeah, fourth round last year. I think that you need he needs more development. He needs more time to develop and see what you got out of him. And on top of that, to me, if listen, if there's a top tackle that slides, then yeah, maybe you pull the trigger there. But honestly, man, if you look at the weakest part of our team last year, the line was atrocious. But I also feel like the line also just underperformed. You get what I'm saying? Because these guys that we had on there, you got to remember the year before, the offensive line was one of the top linemen. They were one of the top offensive line in the league. They
Yeah,
regressed tremendously last season.
yeah.
But they
They
was
So
changed.
running the
They
ball though. They was
yeah,
running
yeah,
that
yeah.
ball
They
though.
changed the scheme. The whole
yeah, they
scheme changed
changed.
from
Right, they
pass
changed.
blocking from run blocking.
They changed the scheme. So depending on what the offensive schematics are going to look like next year, I think that you still have Taylor Moton there. If Brady Christensen can come back and be healthy, maybe you have him. Bozeman. I don't think that they're going to make a change at center. I think he's going to stay at center. And then, like I said, if you move Kwanu to interior, now you're just looking to maybe take another guard or free agency, or maybe get a starting left tackle in free agency, and just see how this new offensive line coach, who has a hell of a fucking history, man. He has a hell of a fucking history of O lines. If you look at the O lines he coached the offensive line that was there for Brady in Tampa Bay throughout the time frame that he was there in Tampa Bay. He coached the offensive line in Indianapolis when Peyton Manning was there in those years. So maybe he can continue to maximize the potential there. I think the offensive line is just too expensive of a position right now to try to fix it all in one off season. Hence why David Canales said that Bryce Young is going to have to get the ball out of his hands a lot quicker. So if you're asking me, the next worst position group, and you can go look at PFF, the Carolina Panthers had the worst position group as wide receiver in the NFL. It was ranked 32nd from separation, from catching, from receptions. It was ranked last. We need some guys, man, that can change Bryce Young's trajectory throwing the ball. You need to go and get a T. Higgins. You need to go and draft another number one wide receiver, because DJ Shark is going to be gone. Um, Mingo is going to be in year 2. And honestly, the depth behind those guys is absolutely horrible. Thielen is going to be there for a veteran presence. I think he'll be utilized more in the slot this year. I don't know if he's going to see the amount of targets that he's going to get, but you need to go get some different playmaking wide receivers. You got to get that. And if even if you don't get it in the draft, you need to get a playmaking tight end, because Tommy Tremble to me is a number 2 tight end at best. Ian Thomas, we already know he's been here through 3 or 4 regimes, and he has not shown anything. We need playmakers at the wide receiver position. So in my eyes, at 33, I think you got to take the best wide receiver available, man. You got to get Bryce Young weapons. Chuba Hubbard is going to be the number 1 running back next year. He's going to be the running back there. And because of the contract that your boy signed, he's going to be here too. So he's not going anywhere either. It's not going to be much changes in the running back room. I think Chuba has earned the right to be number 1. I think that I want to see a lot more of him, especially in this offense, to see how he can do. So with that being said, I think that wide receiver, but I'm gonna go ahead and ask y'all this final question, man. We're gonna get ready to hop up off here. But how do y'all feel about Dan Morgan saying that he's going to stay at 33? How you feel about that, Papa?
Uh, Man, I don't know. I mean, I think it just all depends on who's there. I also, I think, I'm thinking in multiple ways. He could just be saying that for strategy wise, so that way the other teams don't know, because I don't know if they keeping. I don't know if they keep it Burns. Rumors are saying that the Ravens are trying to give up several pieces.
That's
They want
true.
to give us their pass rusher. They also want to give us a next year's first, a next year's second, and I think a third for him. But what I would rather have, if we were gonna make that pick, I would rather take next year's first, this year's second, and next year's third. Um, just to kind
We
of
don't
pick.
have we don't have a second round pick next year.
Or I'll switch it around.
Yep.
Give me next year's first and second, and give me this year's third and that player for Brian Burns. Um, I don't want to see Brian Burns gone, but hey, it is what it is. So he could just be using that as a smoke screen. But if he stays at 33, I'm cool with it. But if he drops down to like 37 to pick up an extra third or fourth, I'm cool with it also. So either way, I'm straight.
Definitely, man. We got Big Brother just pulled up to the building. Big Brother, man, how you feel about the press conference today?
You y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Um, I didn't get to catch all of the press conference, but from what I caught, man, I like Canales. Um, I feel like he brings a young energy. The guy's been active on Twitter. Like he relates to the fans. I just feel like I just like his energy, man. I like his energy. And I'm not saying that that's gonna lead to wins. But I just like the new freshness about him not being a old coach that's been around or a retread that we've not had with Frank last year, and then a college guy under Matt Rule. Um, so I just like, man, that he's bringing like a new energy and a new feel to the Panthers. And I honestly think, man, that you know he's going to be the answer. I mean, obviously we still got a lot to do, but I think that Tepper has taken the steps this time around to really get this team going the right way. He hired the VP executive Tillers from the Chiefs.
That was
A foot,
huge.
yeah, a
That was
football
really huge.
guy. That obviously he offered him more money because the guy left the Chiefs, man, who's currently in the Super Bowl and that's been in the Super Bowl.
He
Over
he
the
went from
last few
arguably the
years.
best team to the worst team in the
Right.
NFL. Yep.
Exactly. So that Tepper, man, had to offer him, a good because it's literally the same position that he had with the Chiefs. But now that we have a football guy that's going to be handling the football stuff, you know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously he'll report to Tepper, but we got a guy who's been around, know what it takes to get to a Super Bowl, to build a team on top of, you know, he got a lot of experience, man. This dude Tillis. So having Tillis, having Dan Morgan, having Canales, man. I mean, that's the order that it needs to be. Tepper, we probably won't see. I mean, obviously Tepper still be involved in some things, but I don't think we're going to see going forward the meddling that Tepper has done in the past. I really
How
think,
you feel
man.
about what Tepper said today when they asked him, man? Because usually Tepper does his comments after the press conference was over, but he they asked him about did he have anything? He said nah, man, I'm in the background now.
There you go. I mean, I love that response, man, because all the owners except for Jerry Jones, man, are in the background. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's leave the football stuff to the football guys. You know what I'm saying? Bring in the right people. Just be the owner, write the check, collect the checks, and reap the rewards at the end, man. But I love that response. So this, to me, I think Tepper has finally realized, okay, I can't be out here doing what I've done the last few years. I want to really, turn this team around for success. So to me, man, that's great. And again, and I kind of knew that. I kind of figured that's the way it's going when they announced the hiring of Tom Tillis. I'm like, okay, this is the first time that we had a football guy on the football side that was higher than the GM, right?
Right.
Tom Tillis, Dan Morgan's gonna report to Tillis, and,
Yep.
and,
He
and
reporting to Tillis. That's right.
yeah, he reporting to Tillis, so and Tillis to report to Tepper. So you need that kind of structure, a guy that knows what it takes, to build a team. Obviously the Chiefs has had a success. Everybody know that. For him to leave the Chiefs in this moment, right? Them going to a Super Bowl and to come to the Carolina Panthers,
Worst
that's
team in the
it.
league.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, man, that says a lot. As far as not only the potential, maybe he feel like, all right, well. Again, I'm pretty sure money had, was involved as well. But the Steelers say that I'm going to come to the Carolina Panthers, man. I really believe that they got something I could potentially turn around, and I mean that's huge, man. I mean, I don't know, how y'all feeling about it, but to me, when I seen that news come across, I'm like, wow, man, that's the Panthers
Do
are
y'all think?
finally
Do
going to
y'all think
go
that's
ahead.
a contingency plan though? If Dan Morgan don't work out, all you do is elevate
Nah,
him.
this dude is he's the VP, he's the pre, so he's not the GM.
Yeah, he's over the
Yeah,
GM.
yeah, he's above the GM, so he's like the VP. He's the president of basically the football operations.
There is no assistant GM.
Yeah,
We don't have an assistant GM anymore. Dan Morgan, the new restructure of the office is Dan Morgan is the GM and president of football operations. Tillis is the vice president of the Carolina Panthers.
so
So
meaning, yeah,
he's over Morgan.
Okay.
yeah, he's
Okay.
over
Okay.
Dan Morgan, so he only reports to Tepper. That's that's
Because I
that's his.
thought at first I thought he was a part of the GM interview
No,
process, right?
no, no, no. Nah, this dude. He holds the same position with the Chiefs. Well, did hold the same position.
Yeah, he had the
The
same
v,
position. Yep.
the
So he
VP
did.
of
So he
foot.
did. He didn't interview for GMs. What y'all saying?
No,
I thought
no,
he
he
did.
did. No, he didn't. This is a position above the GM.
Right. It's a new
Yeah,
reconstructing of
the
of the
organization.
front office. Yep.
Yeah. So he's above the GM. So you got Dan Morgan. He's the general manager, right? But then you got the VP Tillis, who's on the football side. That Morgan will report to, you know, as far as the football stuff, and then this dude Tillis will report to Tepper. So
Facts.
that's
Yep.
the structure. So yeah, yeah, he's above the GM. So he has a higher title than the general manager of football.
Yeah, he
Um,
does. Yep.
so again, to me that was big, man, because we've never had this before under the Tepper regime. And that lets me know, and based on the comments today, Tepper stepping aside. I mean, he ain't stepping aside, but he's stepping in the background to say, you know what, I'm gonna let the football, I'm gonna let y'all guys handle this team, you know, put this team together, and I'm just gonna sit back and sign off on it. And that's majority of what owners do. They let the football guys handle the football stuff, and then they just sign off on sign the checks and stuff like this. So man, I'm excited just like I was last off season. Obviously this is a new era in Panthers football. We said this last year. It's a new era, man. This is we got everything in place as far as
The
the
front office.
yeah, the
Yep.
front office and stuff. So we got that in place now. So nobody can say, well, all right, Tepper didn't hire the football guys to do the football. So now we got that. All right. So now we done built, and that's where it starts from the top down. So now it's up to, Canals to finish filling out his staff to figure out what they're gonna do about Evero. And if he want to keep him on, I don't know. Ain't no word came out yet about that, but Evero is on the
It's
contract.
looking like it. It's looking like he's going to
Yeah,
stay.
I hope he does stay. That's always been my whole. I actually wanted him to get the head coaching job, but that didn't happen. But yeah, Evero staying, D coordinator. So we got everything in place. So now let's go ahead and build this roster up, man. So I'm looking for, man. I'm optimistic, but I think, man, this could be. And I thought this last year. I will say that this could be something start or something good, man, down the road. Well, we go from worst to first in 1 year. I doubt it. You know what I'm saying? But any improvement more than two games is a plus for us, man. And also we seeing progress with this team. And I think there was a quote, oh yeah, that Dan Morgan or Canales said, I can't remember which one, that they're looking for dogs, man. I
Yep.
don't know if y'all caught that. Yeah, if y'all
Yeah,
caught
we
that
did.
today.
Yeah, we
But
definitely did. We
you
definitely
know,
did.
they looking for dogs. I mean, with that mindset, that means all right, I'm looking for players, man, that's gonna want to play, that want to be here, and that's gonna give they 100% effort every Sunday. Which again, that's what the fans deserve, man. I mean, I'm all cool with if we go out there on Sunday and actually competitive in games. If we still lose, okay, I'm okay with that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? At least put up a fight. This year we seen the team didn't put up a fight, man. We had a couple close games that we won, and that Green Bay game was close. But outside of those, three games, man, we just pretty much got smacked. And it wasn't seemed like no effort, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And
Definitely.
so and if those old Carolina Panthers fan remember the year that we went 1-15 or 1-14, whatever the record was, when we only won one game under George Seifert, we was actually in a lot of those games.
Competitive. Yep.
You
I, I,
know,
I'm sorry, Philip, but if y'all go check the our Facebook, we definitely did interview him as GM.
Oh,
who
okay.
is
Yeah.
who
So,
Tillis? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. Yeah.
For GM, well, again, I
He
mean,
served as the vice president of football operations
yeah,
though with the
with
Chiefs.
the Chiefs, yeah, that was his. He
right,
literally
right.
took the
And I,
same
I,
position
I,
Yeah.
I knew that, but I was almost certain we interviewed him as GM.
as
Yeah.
GM. Okay,
Okay.
well,
Yeah.
we got him. We got him as a VP. The same position he got with the Chiefs, which is higher than the GM. So meaning, he the vice president of football operations. So to me that says that he's basically in charge of the football side. I mean, Dan Morgan is the GM. We know he's the general manager. He's gonna handle that, and
Right.
Morgan's gonna
Tillis. They
report.
said Tillis' role is a part of a new front office that is being heavily recommended by search and consulting firm Sportsology. The most successful iteration of that is Super Bowl bound San Francisco 49ers front office, where the relationship between general manager and president of football operations John Lynch and president of football enterprises executive vice president of football agents Perigay Marath has been significant fruits for the franchise. So basically, this structure of having that Tillis and Dan Morgan together is similar to what a lot of the top organizations have had in the NFL. The Panthers have not had this, where the
Right,
vice
right,
the vice president of football operations and the GM are going to work together, man, side by side to just handle the football part of it. That eliminates David Tepper's input on things. You get
right,
what I'm saying?
right. There you go. There you
And
go.
that's
Yeah,
and that's what you want, and that's what you want to see, man. So, hey, man, look, um, I know we all have to, and I'm about to get ready, man, to close this thing down, man. We done been on here for an hour and 45 minutes, but um, what I love and what I want to take away from what I've seen so far this off season is that it's been a different approach. And it hasn't just been any approach. It's been an approach that has shown success in today's NFL. I think one
yeah,
thing that we haven't talked about, man, enough of is how young these guys are. In their front
yeah,
office, man. Dave Canales is only 42 years old. Tillis. I think they said that he was in his 40s as well. And then obviously Dan Morgan in his 40s as well. So these are relatable guys, man. That's going to be able to relate to players, man, in a real way that I think has shown success in today's modern NFL. And that's
oh
the and
yeah,
that's the part and that's the part that got me excited, man, is because now you have that structure in place. It's there, and it's going to allow Canales, man, to really just focus on do what he was brought in here to do, man, and that's to develop Bryce Young, man, and improve this offense. So
yeah,
I
absolutely. Uh,
I'm super excited, man, about to see this in action, man, because I think that the words that I heard today, man, from Dan Morgan when they asked him about the pressure that he feels, man, to turn this organization around, he said it was no pressure, man, just hunger. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And
yeah,
no, it's no
absolutely.
pressure. It's just hunger, man. And
Because Dan, he done been a part of a team that done made it to the Super Bowl. So
right.
Dan knows what the Panthers are capable of and what this organization. He been through it as a player. So he done seen, okay, what type of guys that he need, what the front office need to look like, how we gonna have success. So and that comment about the dogs thing, that let me know like, all right, this dude is serious about, his job, and about turning the Carolina Panthers around. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Is it gonna be overnight? May not be.
Nah.
We might we're not saying we're going to the Super Bowl next year, but the fact is, I think that right now with the hires that we've hired, the people that we've hired, Tillis, Morgan,
Even the coaching
Canales,
staff that Canales has brought in, man, has been,
I
pretty impressive.
yeah, I think right now, like Wade just said, we got the right approach.
Yep.
We got the right approach with proven success that other teams that none build,
The
none been
blueprint.
yeah, the blueprint of consistently winning. So that's what the Panthers want to get to, is get to a point where we competing every year, right? You know what I'm saying? Don't mean we're gonna win the Super Bowl year, but we actually competing and give ourselves a chance. And that's what we want, man. I mean, as fans, the fans deserve it. The city deserves it, man. And like I said,
You
I
know,
think go
I
ahead.
didn't mean to cut you off, man, but you know what was a under the radar hire, man, that Canales brought in on his staff was Harold Goodwin, man, the assistant
Running
head
back.
coach and run game coach, and
Yeah,
from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man. He comes from that Bruce Arians tree. So he was the
yeah,
assistant head coach, man, when Bruce Arians was there in Tampa Bay, and Tom Brady, man, and from that, and also was there with him when he was in Arizona, man. I think that that
right.
was that was a low key, man, and really a good hire, man. So somebody that comes with some experience, for a young head coach, man, he's going to need that. So, um, like I said, I've just been approached of, and then the last thing, man, I'll make a point on, man, and Big Bro, I'll get you to talk about this, man. We'll wrap it up, but the one thing that kept being talked about, man, in the press conference was about everybody being on the same page and alignment. He said that he wanted this to be a family environment, strong bonds between the staff and ownership in the front office. That that approach would allow Dan Morgan to choose his guy, somebody that he already has had some camaraderie with, and then
Yeah,
Canales bringing in coaches that he's already had experience with and knows what they can do. That shit is going to be big for Carolina, man, for the future, man. I really believe that, man. So, uh, I'll leave it on this note, man. We're gonna go ahead and close this shit down. But I'll tell everybody, man, the structure is in place. Now, man, it's time to focus on how we build this roster. A lot of questions to be answered on this roster and how we build this, thing. There have been reports out there that the Ravens were interested in potentially trading for Brian Burns. Don't know if that'll happen. I'm not sure what'll happen for the, if it will or will not happen. I would probably lean more that he's probably going to be here. But the draft is coming up. Dan Morgan has already said that he's going to stay put at 33. And just try to draft the best player available, there. But man, we got to really, now they have to evaluate this roster, man, and figure out, man, how we can build this offense to allow Bryce Young to have success. The defense, if a gyro decides to return, I know nothing officially has been made yet, but I think all signs are pointing to that. But it's about roster construction, man, and
yeah.
then and then building the roster. That's next.
Build a roster, man. We got free agency coming up.
Yep.
Um, here soon, man. So I think we need to make some splashes in free agency. Then then get to the draft. Canales and Morgan, they was out at Senior Bowl practice before they got to Charlotte. Scouting some guys already for the draft. But that's the next step, man. I'm looking forward to this off season. See how we can get better, man. Again, Panthers Nation, we deserve it as fans. I know we all looking forward. We watched a lot of bad football this past season. And I'm really hoping and I believe that it won't be as bad as what we seen last year. Again, last year, this past season was the worst I've seen, the Panthers have looked like, especially
Yep.
offensively wise. So we got a new regime in here, and now it's just the roster, like Wade said, man. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right, man. So until next time, everybody, I appreciate you, man. Make sure y'all run this video up, hit the likes on it, man. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. We still on that road to 1,000. It's been a slow process, but we will get there, man. Obviously, as more news come out, your boy will go live. Hey, make sure y'all stay connected to that community sections, man. All my surfers out there. Appreciate everybody pulling up to the channel, popping, Nigga Nation CLT, Big Bro pulling in last minute.
Appreciate you
Hey,
having
look,
us.
man. Hey, look, this is where we at. Bryce is our quarterback. Canales is our coach. Morgan is our GM. Tepper's still our owner. But this version of the Carolina Panthers, I think we just got to wait and see, man, how it pans out. But I'm excited about their approach, and I think at least Panther Nation, until we can see results, I think we should be excited about the approach, man, how they've tackled this first half of this offseason. So until next time, everybody, be easy. Life is just a wave, baby.